I didn't realize I was here. Hello, 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 hello. Happy, happy, happy. What do you mean? Fine, I'll leave. Jesus, I'm going. I'm going. No story for you. No story for anybody. Okay, no story. Just you know what? No story. No, no story. No, no story for you. Okay. No, you am too loud for you apparently. Ugh, fight me. Everything is a valid reason to crash out. Everything is a valid reason to crash out. It's true. Wait, where am I? There we go. Huh, that was weird. I'm back. Okay, why am I dark? Brighton. Ha ha. Okay, chat. Okay, chat. Okay, chat. Okay, chat. So, today's a just chatting stream, and I have nothing to talk about. So, we're just going to sit here in silence for a while. Okay, how's that sound? Sound good? Yeah? Nobody wants anything, right? There's nothing anybody wants to talk about? Right? Great. Cool. We're just going to sit here and we're just going to vibe then. What story? What story? The cake's... It's a normal situation with the cake, okay? Okay? It was a normal situation with the cake. Fine, you know, I got to post a Twitter post, so, you know, let me think about it a little bit, and then maybe I'll have something to say, okay? It's a normal situation. It was totally normal. Okay. Oh. Well, thank you so much for the redeem. Also, Pink, thank you so much for getting first. Amethyst, how dare you get third? That's not how you count. And Lily, you got second, but come on, a little bit faster. We could have counted better. Next. Hello, 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 Pink. Hi, Lily. Good to see you. Hello, Amethyst. Mwah. Hello, Nynx. Hello, Faith. How you doing, Faith? Mwah. Hello, Eurofrosty. Good to see you. Good to see you, slutty baby Ash. I have to say your name the whole time, all the time. Mossdorf, how you doing? Hello, Amethyst again. Hi, Annie. Thank you for the hydrate. Thank you, Nova. Hello, Pretty Lean. Hi, Pinky. Hi, Ocean. Sorry, it's Ocean. Ocean. Mossdorf, we said hi to Moreau. Hi, Gay Man. Hello, hello, Stream Elements. Hello, Stream Elements. Hi, Desi. Good to see you. Good to see you. Hi, Aura. Gangsoniques, I said hi to you already. Nova, Ray said hi to you. I don't know if Vanya's here, but Vanya, if you're here, hello, Vanya. Moreau, hi. Sakura Rose VT, hello, 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 hello. And Carlos, hello, hi, Silas. And I think that's everybody. Okay, perfect. Perfect. Are we ready? Are you ready, chat? Are you ready, chat? You should. How do I miss Vanya every time? I think Vanya's name is just too short. Footcake. Fine. Okay, chat. So for those of you who don't know what's going on, let me give a nice little summary of everything, okay? Where is it? There it is. Okay, hi. So. Lovely chat. Earlier today, I made a cake and something happened, and I told my cat that I told my chat that I stepped on my cake. And you know, it's a totally normal thing to happen. And for some reason, all of Discord was just like bothering me for the next 30 minutes, being like, how did it happen? Where was the cake? All these questions. Like, come on. It's a normal thing to occur, okay? Okay, chat? It's normal. It's fine. But like, if you have to know the whole story, I can tell you. I said I'd tell it now. I said I'd tell it for stream, so let's get started. We'll start from the beginning, okay? So simple. I was at work, and I got a one of those, like, pre-mix box cake thingies, right? Like, you just put in eggs, you put in oil, you put in the mix, you put in water, you mix it all together, you put it into a pan, and you bake it. Yeah, easy, normal. Problem is, first thing that happened was my cake asked for eggs, and I didn't have eggs. And yes, chat, we have to go through the entire process of me making the cake. But it also said I can use yogurt, right? So I used yogurt, which is probably fine. It wasn't fine. And then I was like, oh, I've mixed this stuff together. But do you know what I love? Do you know what I love? I love coffee. And I have this freeze-dried coffee right here. And if I mix freeze-dried coffee with water, it makes it so I can make like a coffee cake, right? A vanilla coffee cake. It's going to be great. So I took the mix that was wet and I put the coffee, instant coffee into it. And it didn't mix. It did not mix. It was just little sprinkles. It's pretty though. That's why I lied and said it was chocolate. But it did not mix. It just kind of stayed completely solid. And yeah. But then I put it into a pot because I don't have a cake pan. Didn't microwave it. I put it in the oven, let it cook, pulled it out, flipped it upside down, put it on a plate. It was beautiful. Right? You all saw it, right? I posted it on Twitter. I posted it on Discord, and it was fine. Everyone's like, oh, that's a pretty cake. Is it chocolate? Yeah, sure, totally. It's chocolate. Yeah. No, we're not stopping on the pot. Why would we stop? Why is the pot the part that you're getting caught up on? Yes, I have one of those pots that you have like the plastic handle that you can attach to it, but then you can take the handle off of the pot, and then you can put it in the oven, right? Because I don't have a cake pan. What else would I use? Look, it's a cake. It goes in a circle. A pot's a circle. What else am I supposed to use? Okay? Simple, easy. Just don't get on me for that. We're not to the good part. Yes, that's why it had the lump on the top of it, but it was still pretty, okay? And then I let it cool, and it cooled for a while, and then I was in a phone call. And the call was taking too long, so I decided I'm going to frost the cake. And I frosted the cake, which was fine. I mean, it was ugly. I mean, chat, you saw it. I'll post an image here in the short once I make it later. Threw the sprinkles on. It was great. But, chat, so I wanted to take a good picture of my horrible, messy cake, okay? And I don't own a table. I own a desk, but my desk is covered in dishes right now and random stuff. So I was like, okay, here's what we're going to do. What is the biggest, flattest surface that I have that is nice and clean and like a consistent kind of look? So I put it on my bed, okay? I put the cake on my bed, and I took the picture, and I left it there, okay? Yes. What do you mean I don't own a table? I don't own a table. But it's expensive. I don't want to build a table. I put it on my bed. Okay, so I put it on my bed. And then I got a call. And I'm working from home today, of course. So I'm on the computer on my bed, doing work on the computer, doing my call. And I end the call, and I go to get up, and I move my foot over to the side to, like put it down to get out of the bed. And my foot squishes. And at first I'm like, oh, this is such a unique texture. I've never felt this texture before. Huh. I wonder what this is. Oh, fuck, there's a cake in my bed. Yeah. So then I got frosting all over my foot. And I did clean off my foot. Ate the frosting. It was very tasty. I got into the shower in my bathing suit. Wash it off, and then that's where we ended up at. See, it's normal. It's a normal situation. Everything about that was normal. Okay? Thank you for the follow. Foot cake. So yeah, I mean, the cake is still fine. It only has a little bit of a footprint in it. Yes, I ate the frosting off my foot. I'm not... Look, I had frosting on my foot, okay? Hear me out. I had frosting on my foot, and I had to get to the shower. What am I going to do, track frosting all over my bed? No. So, yeah. And of course my feet are clean. So can chat have a slice of foot cake? Why do you want a slice of foot cake? Why do you want a slice of foot cake? Huh? You don't know what's wrong with my feet? I might have weird feet. I might have smelly, stinky feet. You don't know. The cake might now be infused with my essence. It's not. It tastes like weird chunks of coffee, like very bitter, and weirdly like yogurt as well. Coffee yogurt is not. Wait, there is coffee yogurt. That's a thing. But anyways, cake was weird. It's still there. I've had a little bit of it. Has a footprint in it. It's fine. The bathing suit was also fine. Yeah, good experience overall. You make me a coffee cake? Please do, please do, please do. I'm still kind of a dumbass. Yeah. Yeah, I might be a little bit of a dumbass, but it's fine. It's fine. It's fine, okay? The cake is still good. It's still just as ugly as before. And yeah, we're good. We're golden. We're amazing. Well, I look, no. The bathing suit was not involved in this situation. I just happened to also be wearing a bathing suit. But chat was like, "Oh my god, you're texting us in the shower? What a scandal!" And I'm like, "No, I'm wearing a bathing suit. It's fine, chat. I can text you. I don't text you while I'm naked. I text you when I'm naked sometimes, but that's different, okay?" Why was I wearing a bathing suit? Why was I wearing a Okay, fine. Why was that? The reason why I was wearing a bathing suit is because so I don't like pants a lot, and I just don't like pants. And I was just walking around my apartment, not wearing any clothes, and I had this vibe where I'm just like, I don't want to be naked right now. And then I looked at my couch and there was my swimming trunks. I'm like, oh, hey, look at my swimming trunks. So I grabbed my swimming trunks and I put them on. And I was like, there's also a shirt here. And so I put the shirt on that was just on my couch. And yeah, so I was then wearing swimming trunks because, they're like pants, but different. Mm-hmm. Which was nice because that means I could text everybody when I was in the bathroom. Yeah. Okay. You're kind of weird. Yeah. uh, just wear skirts. Then I have to buy skirts. And the point is, like, that there's still something holding things in place. I just okay. Well, look. I thought it was normal. Okay, this isn't like the weirdest thing that's ever happened to me. I've had significantly weirder experiences with food. This is not the worst thing that's probably happened in like the last 3 days. Hmm? You're telling us you're getting caked up without pics? I mean, like, nobody's paying me. What's wrong? Nothing's wrong with femboys. I'm just not a femboy. Actually, what is the weirdest thing that's happened with food with me lately? Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter, chat. It does not matter what the weirdest thing that happened with me with food. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Gene, Jet Aura, check DMs. Gene is a twink. I am not a twink. Okay, but are you all happy with the story though? Was the story good enough for you? Does it explain everything? Are you happy? Did I say it too fast? Oh my god, Keeper. Oh my god, Keeper. There was a whole 7 minutes of stream before you got here. Do I have to retell the story? Do I have to retell the story, Keeper, because you were late? Fuck. Okay. So. Right. Okay. Chat. Here's what happened. First off, you lovely people were upset that I wouldn't tell you what happened to why I stepped on the cake. And I'm just like, it's a normal situation. Why do you want to know? But y'all insisted, so I came here with a story. So it starts with me at work. And I check your Ko-fi. Why? What am I doing now? What am I doing now? What am I? I was just sent $20. Why was I sent $20? Thank you for the $20. Anyways, okay, chat. So here's what happened. Starting over from the top. Since you wanted this so badly, okay. I was at work. I found a box, a cake mix box, and I took it because it was there. Also, they had frosting. I'm like, well, clearly, this needs to belong to me. And so I took the coffee box, I took the frosting, I brought it home, and it's been sitting on my shelf that's next to the door for like days. I decided, you know what? Finally, I should make this. I should make a coffee cake. I'm here. I'm at home. Actually, the plan was not a coffee cake, but just a cake. It's a vanilla cake. And so I mix all the ingredients together, but I don't have eggs. And the box says, "Hey, Gene, guess what? Instead of using eggs, you can use yogurt." And I just so happen to have yogurt, so I put yogurt in the cake. Not the best idea. And then I thought, this is just a boring vanilla cake, so let's make it fancier. What do we have? I have fancy instant coffee. So I mixed all the ingredients together, and I'm like, okay, the batter is liquidy enough. If I mix the instant coffee in with it, it's going to make a coffee cake, a coffee vanilla flavored cake, right? Right. And so I mix in the coffee grounds and the freeze dried coffee, and it doesn't work. It doesn't really work. Hi, thank you for the follow, dog. The chunks of the instant coffee just kind of like swirl up in it, and it makes a pretty pattern. It makes a lovely pattern, but it does not actually mix in. But I think, it's fine. I cook it, it'll be fine. And so I put it into a pot, a sauce pot, or a soup pot, as you call it, because I don't have a cake pan. And it needs a circle. Cakes are circle. So I put it in a pot, put it in the oven, let it sit for 34 minutes. It comes out looking nice. Flip it onto a plate. It's a bit dented. People made fun of me for it. And they're like, oh, is it chocolate? No, I said it was. I lied because I didn't want to admit that it was instant coffee. But it was instant coffee, okay? Circle cake. And I let it cool. And then I think, okay, well, I have this frosting. Let's put this frosting on it. And so while I'm in a call, I decide to start putting the frosting on it. It doesn't go well. I throw the sprinkles on it. It looks kind of okay, but not the best. And I put it on my bed because I don't have a table, chat, and I wanted to take a photo of it. And so I put it on my bed because it's the only surface big enough to really hold the cake and look pretty. And I take the picture, I send it to Twitter, and I'm like, guys, it turned out kind of ugly. Did the same to Discord, and everybody's like, well, the cake's not too bad. And we're getting there, Keeper. We're getting there. So I put it on the bed. I forget about it. And I'm working from home, so I'm laying on my bed, doing a call, get off the call, swing my foot over to step out of the bed, and my foot goes directly into the cake. And at first I'm like, oh, wow, what an interesting texture. I've never felt a texture like this. What pillow is this? And then I remember there's a cake. And so I look at my foot, and I'm like, oh, shit. So, of course, I pull the frosting off my foot, eat the frosting, go to the shower in my bathing suit, go take a shower, and then I go back and take a picture of the stepped-on cake because, yeah. The cake's still good, though. The cake's still fine. It has a little bit of a footprint. It's just dented on one side. It's fine. It tastes weird, but it's fine, okay? It's fine. Some people would pay more for that. But it's still fine, okay? Okay. That's the story of how I stepped on the cake. I don't like feet. I don't like feet. I don't like feet. I like cake. And I wanted a cake. Am I going to eat the cake? Maybe. But yes. Are you happy? Did you enjoy the story? Do you feel better now? You're welcome. Okay. Can I eat the cake now? I guess. I have some of it, like, to the right of me. Fine, I'll have some of the cake. Okay. Because it's an 18 plus space, and I only want 18 plus people there. Be right back. Okay. Here's a piece of the cake, okay? It's cake. It's just cake. It tastes a lot like coffee, but it's cake, okay? My feet are clean. It's fine. It's very moist. It is so moist. There you go. You happy? It's not funky. It's just a cake. I've eaten worse things, chat. I've eaten squid. I've eaten oysters. Oysters are significantly worse. All right, do it. What you said eat the cake. Am I not supposed to eat the cake? Yeah, squid is fine. I like dried squid, but like oysters are like, It's not foot cake. I didn't cook foot into the cake, okay? It's a normal cake that has been stepped on. The frosting was on my foot. It's not on the cake anymore. Most of the frosting, I did eat the frosting afterwards. That was on my foot. But that's besides the point. It wasn't my toes. It was my heel. Okay? You happy? Oh, have you not seen the cake? Fine. We'll post some pictures of the cake. Okay, give me a second. We'll go to the Twitter. I think the Twitter has all the cake pics. All right, chat. Okay. So here's the Twitter. It's fine, chat. We'll just cover you for a little bit, okay? So here's the whole cake chronicles. So first we have the cake I made. Look how gorgeous that cake is. Isn't it pretty? Do you see the instant coffee in it? But doesn't it look nice? It's a great cake, okay? It's a great cake. It's a great cake. Okay. And then don't worry about the Lloyd pick. Then I frosted it. And look, the frosting is great. It's good cake. I mean, like, it's a bit messy. I realized I've never, ever frosted a cake in my entire life before, but, like, it's fine. And then I stepped on it. Yeah. So, it's not that bad. See, it's not that bad. And then I ate it. I ate some of it. Maple, I'm not explaining the story again. Right? It's not too bad. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. And then I got bullied. Did I eat the stepped on part? No, totally not. Who would do that? No, I would never eat the stepped on part. That's weird. Who would ever? No, I would. It's totally not the. How did I didn't ask the cake. He's eating the stepped on part right now. No, not it. I would totally not. Who would? Fine. It was the frosting. Okay. It tastes like normal cake. It's fine. It's fine. You're worse than my mom, chat. My mom's like, oh, if you eat burnt bread, you're gonna get cancer. You eat burnt bread, you're going to get cancer. You eat this thing and you're going to get cancer. Every single thing she says that I eat is going to give me cancer. And you know what? She's probably wrong. Foot cake is fine. Some people pay extra for that, okay, chat? Maybe not from me, but hey. I'm not, what weird creature, I'm not reading this. Do y'all really want the story again? I've told it how many times now? All right, we're just getting the highlights, okay? Just the highlights, okay? Highlights, all right. Number one, I got a quick box of a cake mix. I didn't use eggs, I used yogurt instead. I put instant coffee in it because I thought it would make a coffee cake. Turns out, no, it won't. Cook the cake in a pot, not a cake pan. I don't have a cake pan. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. I don't have a cake pan. So what? I don't need one. And then I put the cake pan onto the plate. The cake was good. It looked fine. It was pretty. You saw the picture. I waited to cool. I put frosting on it. It was fine, but I want to take a picture of it. I don't have a table. So I put it on my bed instead. And so when it was on the bed, it was sitting there looking pretty. I took a picture. I sent it. I then had to do a work call, was laying on my bed on the computer, did the stuff, got off the call, went to get out of my bed, rolled over, foot straight in the cake. Foot in the cake. Squashed it. Stepped on it. Then I got out of the bed. And that's the end of the story. I just used freeze-dried coffee powder. I thought it would mix in with the batter because the batter is like liquidy. So that makes sense, right? Liquid batter, coffee, it'll mix. Well, no. There was also water in the cake. The ingredients are water, oil, yogurt, instant coffee. But the batter is like it's like a semi-solid liquid. It's fine. It's not like it's solid. It's slimy. That's enough of a what. Well, I know that now. Hey. It said to use yogurt. It said you don't have eggs, use yogurt. You don't have oil, use applesauce. So that's not on me. That is on Pillsbury. Somebody go call up Pillsbury. Tell them, hey, yo, you shouldn't tell people to use yogurt instead of eggs. That wasn't on me. Okay? I'm not much of a baker, chat. I mean, I can make bread. I learned how to make, I can make tortillas really well. I can make tortillas that would make your Mexican grandmother go, yeah, I mean, they're tortillas. There is coffee yogurt. You can't judge me on this. There's coffee yogurt. There's coffee pudding. This isn't strange. It isn't weird. It's a normal idea. Chat. I swear to God, this idea makes sense. It could have totally worked. Yeah, I know I can make cake without a recipe. Not cake, sorry. I can make bread without a recipe now. I've made quite a few loaves. I got decent at it. Jene, will you please let me teach you how to bake? For my sanity, please, I will give you a crash course. No, because it's funnier this way. Chat, I have an idea. I make flour tortillas. I don't make corn tortillas, but I can probably make corn tortillas. I also like making squash. Chat, I have an idea. Chat. Okay. So here's what we're going to do. No, I'm going to do a cooking stream. But do you know what I'm going to do? Do you know what I'm going to do, chat? I'm not going to get a recipe. We're going to do a baking stream. And I don't know how to make the thing I'm going to bake. I'm just going to do it from straight ingredients. And we're going to see how it turns out. I don't know what temperature to put it in as, chat. Hello, Azora. Thank you so much for the follow. It's going to be great. Hi, Mitchie. Oh, let me give you a redeem. 1 second. It'll be fine. Okay, chat? It'll be fine. I'm just going to do things, and I'm just going to wing it. It's fine. The first person who made cake didn't Google a recipe on how to make cake. They just made cake. And they're like, oh, my God, this is so cool. I'm going to do the same thing. Easy. We're going to buy a bunch of ingredients, and we're going to buy a bunch of random ingredients that might or might not go into a cake, and we're going to put them onto the table, and I'm just going to see what I can do, okay? Mwah. There you go, Lily. Mwah. Hi, Mitchie. Mitchie, you're sweet, kind, and amazing artist. A lovely person to talk to. You're so much fun to game with, and you are just overall a very interesting person. You have a fun life. You do cool things. And I'm so glad I got to have you in this community. You are so very gorgeous. And I hope you know that I really do appreciate you as an addition to this community and everything. You are so very, very wonderful. Thank you so much for the redeem, Mitchie. Mwah. Hi, Azura. You're a friend of Mitchie's. Mitchie has friends. Just kidding, Mitchie. I love you. Mwah. Mitchie, you redeemed this and told your friend about this. You can't blame me. You don't have a table? You're right, Chad. I don't have a table. And my countertop might be full of dishes. Which might have been why I didn't use the countertop to take a picture on. Look. Okay, I have a bunch of dishes on my countertop and like 3 empty pizza boxes, but it's fine. It's fine. The countertop itself is clean. That's all that matters. Yes. As long as you don't do that thing you talked about yesterday with ice and powder for a self-made energy drink. Ice and powder? Ice and powder? Am I just supposed to put ice in my mouth and then powder? I'll just do the powder instead. Wait, where's my... Haha! Ah! Ah! Pomo said to just take the powder. Pomo said just take the powder, so I just took the powder. It's okay, Silas. I'll hide you. I can't hide you. Wait, should I be in front of the chat? I have an idea, chat. All right, I can do this now. Whew. Chat, you're gone. Ooh. Yeah, you told me to do the powder. You said take the powder. You said take straight shots of G-Sub's powder, and I did. Were you telling me that's not what you were saying? Redeem. Oh, Azura. Azura, are you okay with me calling you a bad girl? The request has been made, and I want to make sure that you're comfortable with that. You'll make me a table? Make me a table? Hello, Arker. How you doing? Water. What are you, pathetic? I'm kidding. I'll drink some water. You're not a bad one? Fine. If you don't want me to call it. Vanya, can you please refund them? Or Aura. I have 2 bottles of water, chat. I have 2 glass bottles of water. They are 28 fluid ounces. I drink a gallon of water every day, chat. I'm not like you. I'm actually very hydrated, thank you. I'm just also very stupid. You can't blame me for that. It's just the way I was born. I was dropped on my head as a child. Chad, have I ever told you about the time I was dropped on my head? It's important. There's a reason why I'm small. Okay, so I was a child. I was like really. I was like this small. Okay, I was a little baby, a little guy, just like do, and I wasn't dropped on my head. Okay, but well, my mother had a large sewing table, and she loved to sew. So every once in a while, she'd get distracted, and she was sewing, and she'd put me on the sewing table, and I'd be like, bloop. Well, we're like, wait, I got this, chat. Okay, so I was like this, but I was smaller. It's like this. We're going to pretend the bed is a sewing table, okay? So here's me as a baby. And so I was walking around the sewing table, do-do-do-do-do, do-do-do-do-do, do. And for some reason, I decided to do this. And then I went, whoop, blam, right on my face. Now, I was like, you know, I was maybe a couple months old, maybe like a year old. So my head was still soft, meaning either I got hit directly in the brain or my soft skull absorbed most of the damage. But I'm fine. Like, we didn't go to the hospital or anything. So I'm fine. Oh, but I was a genius as a child. Hey, Echo Rose, thank you so much for the raid. Thank you. Okay, spell. Boy. Well, no, but hear me out, chat. Hello, lovely raiders. My name's LuckyJene. I'm a gambler, writer, and a flirt. So, okay, hear me out. I'm fine. I was such a genius because here's what I did, okay? Yeah, y'all can know my backstory. My father was in the military, okay? I'm a student in the United States of America, and I have a few months left to finish university studies. I will return to the homelands, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia. Congratulations. I hope you enjoyed your time here. Anyways, so I was a genius child, a genius baby. I was staying in a hotel. I wasn't staying in a hotel. My dad was in the military. We were stationed somewhere. We were staying in a hotel. And my dad put me in a closet, okay, chat? Because he wanted me not to escape while he was taking a nap. He put in the closet, he covered the floor of the closet with blankets, closed the door of the closet, and went to sleep. He'd been out on patrol or whatever, had like 2 hours of sleep before that. He needed to catch up. And so, little baby me, remember, little child me, got to make sure I'm small enough. There we go. I somehow got up, grabbed onto the handle of the closet, got it open, and then I walk over, boop, 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 to the door, to the front door of the hotel. And it's locked, chat. It is locked. And my little hands, whoop, grab onto the door handle, pull down, lean my entire body weight on it, and all the locks disengage. All the locks disengage on the door. And my happy ass left. It is an hour later, my dad wakes up panicked, thinking somebody kidnapped me. He hears a knock on the door, and there's a police officer holding my hand, going, "Is this yours? Did you let your child wander around freely?" And my dad's like, no, I didn't do that. Like, I wouldn't let him wander around. I put him in the closet. He's like, yeah, did you even lock the door? And it's like, yeah, I locked the door. Hey, Jene, can you show the nice police officer what you did? And so I'm laying there, and I get back up, and I do it again. And I walk back to the door, and I pull down on it, and the police officer goes, huh, okay. And so the hotel got in trouble. The hotel got in trouble for making an apartment, a hotel that a child could escape from, and that the lock actually doesn't work. Because theoretically, you could also push down from the outside. Like if you put your body weight on it, a child's body weight on it, by the way, and you could open the door. Oh yeah, my dad was in the military. He was on a military base. He would have gotten into so much trouble. That was a military police officer. So yeah. It happens. Hi, Echo. Echo already said hi. I said, hi, Echo. Thank you so much for the raid. And I said, thank you, Raiders. Thank you for the raid, Echo. Can we get a shout out for Echo, by the way, for the raid? I really appreciate it. Mwah. Thank you for the raid. In Mission Impossible Baby Edition. I only did some things. I mean, I also ate bugs. So, chat, me eating a foot cake is nothing new. There's been enough situations where, I picked up like a little like grasshopper. My dad walks over and he's like, Jene, what do you have in your mouth? And there's this little leg twitching out of my mouth. Actually, my first memory was of the next door neighbor twin girls wrapping a snail in a leaf. That's it. I remember chalk drawings, a street, and a slug wrapped in a leaf. Why? I don't know. I don't know what they were doing, why they were torturing the slug, but it happens. It happens. Okay. Calm down. Ooh. You ate worse things? I believe you. I believe you. Okay, chat. More stories. What else do you want to hear about? Today's a Just Chatting stream, so we're going to be talking this. It has been 46 minutes. My God. Wow. Okay. I don't realize I've been. It's fine. Oh, yeah, no, the cake is still alive and still, edible. I still enjoy the. That's fine. Cake's fine. Hmm. You ate pennies? I feel like I ate pennies. I feel like I probably still have pennies in my body, which would explain a lot. Hello, Sakuna Vale. How you doing? Congratulations on the new debut. Am I eating the cake right now? I mean, no. Why would I eat the foot cake? That's totally weird. I would never eat the foot cake. That tastes so much like instant coffee. It is awful. I don't know why I keep eating it. Okay. I'm doing great. Okay, chat. Any story that you want. Any story from my life right now. Pick an age. Pick a day. Pick a year. I'll give you a story. I want to tell you stories, chat. I can tell you about the ghost. There's been more than one ghost. I don't believe in ghosts, though. 16th birthday, nothing. Nothing happened. I played video games. I actually was really okay, look. I know every single American thing is like, oh my God. Like, teens, teen-sized people, like, they get a car and they learn how to drive and everything. It's like, no. I didn't even have friends. I had some friends. I had girlfriends. A girlfriend. I just, I liked dating people more than I liked being friends with people. Don't judge me, okay? Okay? Craziest person I know? I know the craziest person I know. Like, I didn't actually know him. Okay, but hear me out. So, I was living in a state in the South, and I was working at a hospital, and I had a car that my grandfather gave me. It was it was a tiny little Ford Ranger white truck. The reason why I say my granddad gave it to me because it was falling apart. This man drove it to church and drove it to the goddamn it. All right, so because we're in the South, I guess we're going to do the Southern voice. So, I had this truck, a little Ford Ranger, absolutely fine. But as I continued to, work and drive and treat it shittily, it started falling apart on me. And I had a credit card and less sense. And so, you know what I did? I decided to start using Ubers whenever I felt iffy about my car surviving, which is good because eventually the brakes went out. That was fun. I didn't crash that time. So, I took an Uber, and I get in the Uber, and the first thing the guy says to me is, hey, do you want to see the picture I took of the world behind the sun? Planet X. Do you want to see Planet X? And so he pulls out his phone and shows me before I can say no. And he holds up the phone, and he's put a filter on the clouds, and he's like, you see that? You can see all of the buildings. You can see all of the skylines and stuff. And so the thing is, first off, the planet's supposed to be behind the sun, but larger than the sun. So the man is questioning the size of the sun to begin with. And he says the world's approaching. It's getting bigger all the time. And one day, we're going to have to fight Planet X. Which, he really believed this thing, by the way. And he's driving me on the Georgia highways. Oh, yeah, it was Atlanta, Georgia, by the way, chat. Driving super fast with his phone in his hand, scrolling through videos to show me all of the evidence he has of all this stuff because I didn't say no. He showed me evidence of fairies. He showed me evidence of all these sort of things that he'd taken pictures of and on the YouTube channel he had. We are driving 80 miles down morning rush hour traffic while he's got both hands on his phone, somehow still steering this car. Yeah. We arrive. I jump out of the car, and he goes, "Thank you so much for driving with me. God bless," and drives off. He, the, sir, I was about to see God. I was about to see Satan. I don't know what I was about to see, but we were not going to live through that. I don't know how I made it, but I did. I did. And I obviously gave him a shitty review and reported him to Uber. Because, my God, that's the craziest guy I know. Mm-hmm. mm. Sorry, 1 second here. I'm eating alcoholic peaches. It's fine. Yeah, Monster, I saw your question earlier. Let's go with that one. Hi, Type X. Ace, how you doing? So here it is. Here it is. First urgent hospital visit that I remember was interesting. I was in college, yeah, and I go and I'm like my stomach hurts, my chest hurts, like, but I'm fine. I'm gonna go take a shower because chat. I'm not sure if I've ever told you this before, but my way of curing all illnesses is getting the shower. And there's something about water that just feels, healing, right? It's the source of all life. You drink it, you hydrate, and so I get in the shower whenever I'm hurting. And the pain doesn't go away. It gets worse and worse and worse and worse until I'm bent over in the shower, leaned up against the wall, screaming. My roommate, my lovely roommate, who eventually came out as gay to me, which is important later on, but doesn't matter. He calls security. Security comes, grabs me, takes me out of the apartment, calls 911. They grab me, and we go all the way to the emergency room. Turns out, chat, I had gallstones. I had stones in my gallbladder because I ate horribly all of college. I was stressed all the time. I never slept enough. I just was not a healthy person. So I had so many stones in my gallbladder, they had to cut that thing out. And they did it really badly, by the way. I still got some really large scars from it, but it shouldn't have been that much scars. Did they take you that? No, eventually. I don't. Huh. I don't know how I got clothes on. I got clothes on somehow, though. What was I wearing? I must have been wearing clothes, right? They wouldn't have. I was probably not naked. I don't know. I'll call up my old roommate eventually and ask him if I was naked. But actually, so what ends up happening after that, though, is because I had my gallbladder removed, which I found out, guess who isn't affected by hydrocodone? It's me. It don't kill my pain. It still hurt. I couldn't sleep for like a week because all it did was make me really fucking loopy. I'd be like dizzy. I couldn't walk straight, and I was in pain. So yeah, hydrocodone does not work on me. Or was it Oxycontin? Anyways, one of those don't work. And then from that day on, I had horrible, horrible heartburn because the gallbladder helps with that shiz. And so I thought I had a reoccurrence and went back to the hospital later on because it hurt so badly. Turns out, no. It was just a heartburn that made my vision go blurry. Yeah. Thank you for the follow. Itakio, how you doing? How you doing? You trying to avoid painkillers? Not me. Not me. No. I don't like pain. If I can take something for pain, I will take it immediately. They don't work a lot on me. That's fair. What was the other one? Somebody asked something else. Oh, I'm zooming in. Whoops. Pomo, I think you asked me another one, right? It was also the second time I blacked out was in college. The first time I went blacked out was like 14. 15? Maybe 15. It's fine. The funniest accident. Oh, yeah, no, I've heard. Chat, all you ladies out there, I'm sorry. I am so sorry. Medicine was made on white college students who are all men. And it's so often taught by men. Even worse. Medicine is going to suck. And things are done horrible for you. Women, I'm so sorry. It's bad for me enough, but it's even worse for you. Okay. Moreau, good night. Sleep well. Mwah. Mwah, mwah. Next story. I never blanked out, but I had my vision get blurry because my body can't handle sunlight. Your what? Your body can't handle sun. What do you? What? No. Come here, Aura. I want to look at you. What do you mean? What do you mean your body can't handle sunlight? Explain. I would 100% do a period stimulation. No, tell me about it. What do you mean your body can't handle? I won't even get a shot collar. I just passed out in this. Why? You just like, are you really pale? Are you a vampire? Aura, have you been a vampire this entire time? Explain. Aura getting too much of that vitamin D. I refuse. Aura has entered the Jene chamber. Welcome to the Jene chamber, chat. Today's been fun, you know? It has been a whole hour. How has it been a whole hour? What do you mean it's been a whole hour? We have not been streaming. I have not talked that long. Come here, Desi. Let me pick on you a little bit. I can tell you all about the first time I blacked out. I'll tell you about every person I ever dated. All of them have been lovely. I'm going to be honest. Almost every single person I dated was lovely. The only people who weren't lovely that I dated lied about who they were. I got occasionally catfished. Everybody gets catfished at least once, chat. You're not special. I'm kidding. But no, it's okay to get catfished. It happens to everybody. I can tell you. No, I don't want to tell you about that. That would be sad. You've never been catfished? Do you want to be catfished? I got you. How I got I wouldn't say it's a funny story. It was very not good for me. I was like 16 at the time, I think. And well, no, I think I was 17. I was 17 at the time. I was on this website called Chat Tango. Or Chat and Go, I think is what it's actually called. It was kind of used as a chat website for like every single anime site at the time. And I would just scroll through the pictures and find attractive ladies, and I'd click them and I'd message them because, you know, that's what you do when you're a 17-year-old hormonal boy. And there's this girl, and we start talking. We talk all the time. We start doing phone calls. We flirt. And she sent me pictures of her, and I'm like, oh, they're really cute. They're like cosplay pictures and stuff. Red flag number one. This is how I learned about Tinai. And, yeah, we talk all the time, and I'm falling for it, and we're talking, and we talk all the time, and she can't talk all the time. But, then one day I get a call, and it's an older woman. And she's like, why are you calling my daughter? And I'm like, oh, we're kind of dating. And she's like, do you know how old my daughter is? Yeah, it turns out the daughter was like 14 or something. And she'd been lying about her age, lying about her pictures. And luckily, nothing happened besides us, you know, flirting and talking on the phone. But yeah, I said, your daughter's been lying about your age. Here's the pictures she sent me. And all I hear is screaming in the background of her yelling at her daughter for like 30 minutes. I end up hanging up the phone, never talk to them ever again. But yeah, now I don't do that. I don't talk to anybody like that. And if I'm ever going to, like, you know, get in a digital relationship, camera, videos. We're taking all precautions here. Because it takes so very little to lie about anything on the internet, especially with AI now. Yeah. Yeah. Wasn't my fault. Still regret it. And that was one of the times I got catfished. Another time was a man who fell in love with me. That was funny. That was. There was a straight man who liked attention. And so he did a fake voice and he said he was a lady and did all this like stuff of like, like trying to get attention from guys because, he was desperate for attention. He lived on his own in this place and survived best off his art. And me and him start talking all the time. And he decides one day to be like, hey, I need to talk to you. We've been talking for a long while. And actually, the pictures I've sent you aren't me. They're my cousin. And I'm a guy. But I've fallen in love with you. And I'm not gay. But I really like you. Which, like, hey, I would date a man. But I would not date a person who lied to me. Yeah. So that was yeah. I miss life without AI. I miss life without AI too. There are some positive uses of AI, but we should never have used AI to get rid of creative jobs. AI should not have gone to music. AI should not have gone into writing. AI should have been for putting in fucking numbers on a spreadsheet. Anyways, but yeah, no. So I apparently turned the man gay, or bi-curious. I don't know. He'd never dated a man before. And he was fully in love with me. It was great. It was great. It was more the lying that got me, though. And he wasn't that pretty. This is going to sound awful, chat. This is going to sound awful. If he had been more attractive, I might have considered it. Oh, Mitchie. Du bist so ein gute Mädel. You're such a good girl. I don't even know how to say good girl in German, so I tried. Don't go. Stay. But you can't blame me. Like, look, if he was super hot and had lied about being a girl, it'd have been like, yeah, okay. So you're trans, so what? But like he did not take good care of himself. And it was one of those things of like, yeah. I can get over lying. I can't get over the lying about your appearance. Which is funny, chat, because I think most people are attractive. You're only unattractive to me if you don't take care of yourself. Wash your face, clean yourself, wear nice clothing. Like, present yourself, okay? Present yourself nicely. That's all you need to do. You can take a 2 and make it a 5. You can make a 5 and make it a 10. And also, you should not rank people on numbers. But if we're going to, just take care of yourself. Have a passion. Passions make you hotter. Hobbies make you hotter. You come to me and you talk to me about your D&D session that you did last week. I'm going to be like, well, damn. God, look how hot you are. But if you come to me and being like, yeah, so I saw this show. And I like this band. Let's watch TV now. Let's sit on our phones together and do nothing. No. Take care of yourself. Have a hobby. Have a passion. And you'll be hot. You go Adam Sanders side. I mean, Adam Sandler makes it work. Adam Sandler makes it work. I got another confession to make. What's up, gay man? I'm no fool. Shall we go listen to that song? Give me a second. I got another confession to make. I'm your fool. Okay. Let's see what other stories. You're just like a queen. I believe it, Palmo. I believe it. I've seen that one cosplay. Amazing. Um, hmm. I'm emancipated. Oh, congratulations. Okay. I like fashion a lot. Fashion is great. Fashion is great. I wanted to talk about something else, chat, but my brain went blank. Huh. I dated a witch, and that was fun. Like a high school witch who didn't know what she was talking about. Why would you admit to that? Why would you admit to that? Come on. Come on. Ah. Have I ever had a wardrobe malfunction in public? Yes. How do I dress? Bisexual disaster. But bisexual slutty disaster. Okay, here's what I normally wear. Like my favorite outfits. We have ripped jeans, combat boots. We have half pearl, half chain necklace, black earrings. It's an like mostly unbuttoned button up top, like that's pale and kind of flowy. I'll either style my hair doing more curls or style a little bit back. And yeah, very simple right now. I mean, like, I'm saving money. I don't want to spend a lot of money on clothes. And chat, I don't have anybody to really look presentable for except work. So most of my money is going into work clothes right now. Maybe when I start meeting more people. It's medium length. Like right now, you see my model? My hair goes like that in the back. It's similar length of my model right now, except curly. Any work tea? None that I can say, because one of my coworkers knows about my stream. Because I was stupid. Yes, I'm 6'4". You should try the teep version of the Gothic Ninja style. Send it to me. I'll take a look. I don't know if they're here. This is all I'm gonna say. Actually, no. I guess there's not a lot of my job right now. Is fucking solid. It's fucking solid. Like the boss is great. He has less IT knowledge, but more leadership knowledge, and goes definitely like heavy on that. He has some IT knowledge, but he's definitely more of a leader, and he's a leader. He coordinates shit. He keeps track of things. He's great. The new person, they're non-binary. They're a lovely person. They know about my stream. I was stupid and I was like, hey, here's my Discord if you want to talk on Discord. And they're like, oh, hey, you said you stream, right? Let me look up your Discord name. Well, now they know about it. Nobody else, though, knows about it. They know I stream because I talked about voice acting. Hello, Lori. How you doing? Mwah. But, like, all my coworkers are nice. We have the one guy who does, like, mostly hardware stuff. He's newer. He's great. We have the lady who's been here for a long time. She has a lot more company knowledge, a lot of tech knowledge, but I think we're on the same level. We have the super IT guy who does like double the tickets everybody else does. He's like at 1,200 when I was at 600 tickets over the month, and I've been working there since March. We have the lead IT guy who is like a little bit more tickets than I have, but he's still super great. The only guy that I'd say like wasn't doing the best was the guy who got let go recently. And he was just not like keeping track of shit. I can definitely tell that he was kind of, getting a paycheck. Mm-mm. I know it's this is like the best work environment I've ever been in. I mean, I didn't realize until recently. I work mostly alone. Every job I've had, I've been alone. I worked my first job, and I was in a back room, and my boss was never there. Then my next job, I was in a back room again. And the one time I was with a team, I was assigned all these buildings to work on that was separate from everybody else, so I never saw anybody. That job, I slept in my car. Wait. Before you're like, oh no, Jene was homeless. No. I streamed, flesh tubed, drank a lot, and so I didn't sleep well. So I would drive into work, clock in one of the buildings that I worked in, go to my car, kick back the seat, and sleep for an hour. And then I'd go back into work. Yeah. But yeah, and then I would go into work, which, oh my God, I get let go due to COVID. Probably because I was also slacking off at that job. Okay, have I broken a bone? No bones broken. No bones broken. Not yet. There's still time, chat. There's still time. If you want to break one of my bones, come find me. Do it while I'm at work, though, so I get workers' comp. Awkward first date experience. I don't have many awkward first dates. There was the date where I tried to kiss a different girl. That's because I was an idiot. You remember a story? What story, Aura? Wait, what story? What story? No. Give me the outline. Give me like the start of it, and maybe I'll tell it. Let me hear it. How's everybody doing, by the way? You all having fun? I'm having a great time. Ah, that wasn't a date. No. Okay. Chat. Okay. Are you all? Am I? I don't want to ruin your opinion of me. But I swear I'm better at kissing now. I swear to God. If you all want to hear the story about how I turned a girl lesbian, I will tell you. But I need confirmation you want to hear the story. Aura, you don't count. Okay. I swear I'm better at kissing now, okay? I learned. Chat, this, I Googled how to kiss better. I looked up how to go down on a person because I was so traumatized by this event that I study how to do things better. So, it's also going to make me sound shitty. Okay. Middle school, 8th grade, maybe 9th grade. I don't remember exactly. There was this girl. Her name was, we're going to call her Sam. It was one of those names that could be boy or a girl, you know? And she had always told me that everybody. What's up, Vanya? I order a flat white. Or do you mean like a coffee? Because normally I go up, I go like this, I go like, hey. If it's a new coffee shop and it's like a specialty coffee shop, I'm like, oh yeah, hey, what coffee do you like? And they're like, oh, I like this coffee. Like, oh, sweet. Can I get one of those? And like, let me get it with like almond milk or like oat milk or something because I don't like lactose. Hello, Oak Run's left nut. Hello, left nut. Where's the right one? And I'll get like an oat milk, whatever they like, and I'll try it. And I like trying new things. But like, if I'm gonna get like a drink anywhere, and I'm just like I'm trying to get a coffee quickly, it'll be a flat white or a cappuccino. And then I get the cappuccino, and I stand there, and I stare at the barista while I pour most of their container of sugar into it and mix up their pretty design until the sugar is all properly mixed in. So it tastes like a steamed milky sugar thing. And then I drink it, staring at the barista, so that they know that I ruined their coffee art. That's a lie. No, but I do put a lot of sugar in my cappuccinos. I put enough sugar in cappuccinos that baristas have looked at me being like, why are you putting so much sugar in that? Okay. This is you. Do you know why I put a lot of sugar in my coffee? I don't do it anymore. I used to. Because of anime. Because of anime. No, because like, okay, so like, Light from Death Note. I liked cute things, and I'm always been a tall guy, but I like cute people, and Light was always really cute, and he did all the sugar stuff, and so like I loaded my fucking coffee up with sugar because that's what Light did from Death Note, and I thought it was, and I liked it, and I was like, if I like sweet things, then it makes me cuter. Okay, I just wanted to be cute. That's why I like strawberry over any other flavor. I love strawberry now, but like I don't follow me for that. Stop. And yeah, and now my teeth have to suffer. But like, I don't know, I like things now. I know what good coffee tastes like, and so a good coffee I won't do with any sugar because like, it's made really well. I like a blonde. If we're gonna talk coffee, I'm gonna be a snob here for a little bit. I like a blonde roast on coffee because it's a lot less bitter, and I don't like tannins that much. And a blonde roast has more caffeine than a French roast because French roast is darker. And the more you're roasting, the less caffeine it has in it. Okay, I just wanted to be cute. I used to wear a ribbon around my neck, and I always wore oversized sweatshirts. Which, you know how hard it is to find an oversized hoodie when you're 6'4"? Don't follow me for that. My favorite. Thank you for the follow though, Jene Wind. And like I used to I do like, I put a lot of sugar in my coffee anyways, most of the time, especially if it's bad coffee. I had this sweater, this Nightmare Before Christmas sweater that had a hole in the back. And this girl gave it to me because she stole it from a guy and she'd cut off the sleeves. And so I did the thing, where like you have the jacket, but it's not on your shoulders, it's just on your arms. That way it could cover my hands. So, yeah. I played bass in a band. I wanted to be Bo from Cafe. For me being stupid. I don't know. Hi, Cinnabon. Why'd you follow me? Mwah. Welcome. Do you all know Bo from Cafe? Do you want to see Bo from Cafe? Here, we'll watch the Cafe. This'll work. This was before I even knew what trans was, and I am not I'm non-binary, but like, I just liked how cute they were. Okay, and there was something about them being so cute that really like. Okay, I'll pause it when we get to Bo. You ready? Do you see that in the background? Do you see the bassist in that? There. That is Bo. He is adorable. And I wanted to be him. But like a boy. So yeah, that is why actually, let's listen to Selfish Love. And then I wanted to also be Miyavi. But Miyavi's so fucking cool. I mean, look at them. Look at them. Look at them. Look at the way they play. He's so cool. He was the first person I ever saw do that. He's just so cool. I don't play guitar. I want to play guitar. I own a guitar. Will learn how to play guitar eventually. But like, come on. How can you not be attracted to that man? Look how pretty he is. It's not fair. Meanwhile, I am 6'4". Big dude. Large arms. But anyways, so, I get it. Like, I love anime, chat. I love anime. Anime has done awful things to Japanese people. The amount of, like, culture of just, living alone at home and never leaving and having these small spaces and barely surviving and being okay with that. Yeah, It's a whole like cultural thing that anime and video games caused massive issues in Japan. I get a hatred for anime from those people. And so often anime is made for fetish, for kink shit. There's so much good anime out there. I love it. I want to voice act it one day. But if you only look at the bad stuff, I get it. Why am I so freaking tall? I don't know, okay? I'm taller than my dad. I am the tallest man in my family. The tallest blood-related person in my family. It's not fair. My dad, the joke always was that my dad's best friend was actually my real father. I'm not. But yeah. I wanted to be cute. Now, I'm happy to be 6'4", don't get me wrong. I like being 6'4" now. I like looking cool in clothes. I like having more masculine traits. But I wanted to be cute, okay? I wanted to be cute. Anyways. What were we talking about, chat? What were we talking about? Miyavi's ace? That makes sense. Makes sense. Oh, God. Me turning a girl lesbian. Right. Right. Oh, no. Oh, no. Oh, no. Okay. 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 So, chat, I'm a good kisser. I swear I'm a good kisser now. But here's the story. I was in love with this girl. We're going to call her Sam. She had a non-gendered name. Very, very large deities. That's not why I was attracted to her, but she had the largest deities I'd ever seen. It's important. It's not, but it is. And I had a crush on her. I was hanging out with her, and she had a crush on this other girl, right? And so she invited this other girl over. We're hanging out, and the entire time, me being a bit jealous, I flirted with the girl that Sam was into. We're going to call the other girl Tina. Fine, we're going to call her Tina. So Sam was really into Tina. I was flirting with Tina the entire time. We got off, we hit it off, we kept like messing around, kind of, like playing footsie, kind of goofy. And when Tina needed to go home, I decided I was going to walk her home. Now, she's 2 grades above me, by the way. And instead, she lives right around the corner, down the road. We decided to completely ignore that. And we walk for hours. We walk for hours just talking and flirting and goofing off and getting to know each other. And it's great. It's lovely. I forgot to mention, this is in the dead of winter. I was wearing clothes that looked good but did not give me much heat. And it got to a point where my hands were shaking nonstop. And I was nervous. The entire time I wanted to kiss her so badly. And so I kept licking my lips. Well, do you know what happens when you lick your lips in the cold, chat? They dry out. And I didn't know that. And so I licked them again. My head being in a kind of cold stupor. My whole brain like being so nervous and everything. And I kept licking my lips. They were dry and they were so awful. And so when we got close to the place, I go and lean in to kiss her. And I panic. I don't remember what I did. I don't know how I kissed her, but it was so awkward. And immediately afterwards, I'm apologizing instantly. I instantly apologize. I'm sorry I kissed so badly. I swear I'm normally better. I said that. I repeated it. I swear I'm normally better. Like I can be, just give me another time. I'll kiss better next time. And like, I'll do so much better. And she's like, it's fine. You're fine. I take her to her place. I leave her there. And then the next day I go by her being like, okay, it went great. It wasn't the best, but I need to fix the kiss. And so I'm going to go to her, and I'm going to ask her out. And I go to her house. I ring her doorbell. And my first thing is, hey, do you want to go out with me? Do you want to be my girlfriend? And she looks at me and goes, guys aren't really my cup of tea. Guys aren't really my cup of tea. Yeah. Now, either she hated me, personally, or she decided never to date men ever again. Which apparently somebody eventually convinced her to date men again because, she got married to a guy later on. But for that time, I made her a lesbian. I assume somebody was a worse kisser than I was as a woman. So they went back to dating. But since then, I have gotten better at kissing. I have practiced on men, on women, on non-binary people. I'm a better kisser. I swear to God. Don't look at me like that. I swear I could kiss. Fine, come here. We'll make. But by the way, chat, if you have no experience kissing, if you have no experience going down on people, Google it. Google it. Google it. Look it online. There's instructional videos on everything. I learned from a porn star how to go down on people. She walks you through every single step of the way, telling you, hey, you can do this. You can do this. Try this on. And if you're really interested, try this part. So Google it, okay? Look it up. And do you know how I have proof? Do you know how I have proof it works? Would you like to know how I have Would you like to know how I have proof it works? I've had multiple people say to me, oh, that's how you do it. Wow. That was actually really good. Like I wish all of my other partners had done that and learned about that and looked it up. So yes. Chat. Google. Learn. There's so much stuff on the internet. There you go. Jene kissing tutorial win. Okay, first you stick out your tongue. And then you just go forward and go, ah. It's perfect. Every time. Every time. Perfect every time. Or you do what the one girl I dated did. You put your tongue in their mouth, like your whole tongue, as much as tongue as you can fit in their mouth, and you just go up and down. You go, yeah. She just a little flicks. I'm so confused what the point of it was. Yeah. It works every time, Jay. You just go ahead. They're gonna love it. Oh. Bad Gene. Hey. Okay, I can't give you only good advice. I have to give you some bad advice, too. Don't go on a date with a girl to a movie theater if she works at the movie theater. She's going to find the movie that she can get the cheapest. You're going to go to B-movie, and it's going to be you, the girl, a dad, and their son. And then you're going to make out in the front row. Anyways. Huh? Nothing. Don't worry about it. You're grounded? Don't ground me. What did I do? No, I never made out in the front row of the B movie. I never made out in the front of the B movie. Who would make out in the front of the B movie? That's crazy. Not me. Not me at all. The first time I saw the B movie, I did not. To be fair, though, I went to a lot of movies I never saw. I never saw, but went to. It's the one where the stranger's in the house. You would for $20? Oh, the movie was free. So, by the way, this is what happened, chat. I went to the movie theater with my dad. I went to get a popcorn refill. And the girl working the popcorn register was like, hey, Gene. They didn't say my name. They didn't know my name. They're like, hey, do you want to maybe go see a movie with me? Do you want my number? And I'm like, I look back at my dad. Look back, I'm like, yeah? Kind of weird you're hitting on me in front of my dad and mother. Was it my mother? Was my dad dating people at the time? I don't know. Weird that you're hitting on me in front of my dad. But yeah, sure. So yeah, that happened. Okay. Sorry, what were we talking about? Anime I don't like. Anime I don't like. I got a thing. I like most anime. Boku no Pico? That doesn't really count. Um, hmm. I don't know. I can't think of any movie I really don't like. I guess if I don't like it, I don't watch it. I guess Hell's Paradise was only okay. I like Hunter x Hunter. I like the power system. I like anything. Okay, chat, you have to hear me. I like anything with a training arc. I like anything with a tournament arc. I like anything with tests. And the entire first half of Hunter x Hunter was them doing tests. And that is amazing. If you could have an anime that was just them doing tests. Oh, I love Ippo. Ippo was so good. Oh my god, Ippo was good. I loved Ippo so much. Demon Slayer? I like Demon Slayer. I like a lot of the artsy stuff with Demon Slayer. Feels kind of generic, but it's very pretty. I haven't seen Monster. Heard it's amazing. Death Note was good. Death Note became bad, but Death Note was good at the time. I have not seen Monster. Monster's on my list. Love. Okay, there we go. I like the Berserk manga. Some of the anime is good. Most of the anime is not good. And it keeps being remade, and it keeps being remade poorly. They keep giving it to people who don't deserve it. Yu Yu Hakusho was great. Loved Yu Yu Hakusho. What do you mean? Do you like Yu Yu Hakusho? Training arc. Tournament arc. Perfect anime. That's all you need. Jujutsu Kaisen's pretty good. I enjoyed it. They do have training. I think were doing some tournament stuff, so that was a lot of fun. I haven't seen the Berserk films, no. Tokyo Ghoul wasn't bad. I was edgy. I like Tokyo Ghoul. It wasn't bad. I know like it wasn't accurate, but it wasn't bad. I don't know. I like the original Dragon Ball, but that's because I grew up with it. I like Dragon Ball Z because I grew up with it. I always liked Trunks. Trunks was like my ideal because they had a sword, and swords are cool. Everybody knows that. Trunks should have been the best because he has a sword. And then I like Gotenks. I didn't actually watch much of it. Haven't seen Ramana, but I do know it's good. MDZ, haven't seen it. Sounds interesting though. I know an anime you've never watched. Probably. What is it? Lull in the Sea? I do not know that one. No. Sounds cool, though. But yeah. Kill la Kill is nice. I liked Kill la Kill a lot. It was very, very pretty. I liked all the premise. People were hot. It's just a unique concept. I loved Fully Cooley. Fully Cooley was one of my favorites. Special? Special makes me worry. Trigun. Oh my god, I love Trigun. Chad, I haven't told you about my Trigun story. You want to hear about my Trigun story? It's multi-leveled. Okay, so do y'all remember Kazaa and Napster and LimeWire? I set a computer on fire because of those, but that's not the point. So, I had a computer, and I loved music, chat. I loved music so much. And you know what I loved more than music? I loved free music. And so I had Kazaa at the time, and all I would do is I'd go on to Kazaa, and I'd download every single song related to something I liked. So I went out and I found Legend of Zelda, and I downloaded every single Legend of Zelda thing, okay? And that got me the classic song. You ready for it? We're gonna play it right now. I'm gonna sing it for you. You ready? This song. This song. Do 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 do. Link, come to town, come to save the Princess Zelda. Ganon took her away, now the children don't play, but they will when Link saved the day. Anyways, so that song came up. And so all of you might think the song is written by System of a Down. It's not. It is not written by System of a Down. I don't know who it's written by, but because of that, I then looked up Legend of Zelda. Okay? And System of a Down. And so I found a bunch of System of a Down AMVs, and one of them was to a song. And it went do 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 Sugar. And in the background was an anime. And for years I didn't know what the anime was. Turns out it was Trigun. The song, I didn't know what it was either for years. Because at the time the only other place I had to listen to music was Yahoo Music. And I'd go to Yahoo Music and I'd go to the System of a Down page and I'd listen to every song on the System of a Down page. And none of them were the song that I heard. So I could never find that song. I didn't even realize it was System of a Down. And then one day, while I'm looking at the Yahoo Music page, I scroll. And you want to know what? There was one more song, one level below all the other songs, called Sugar by System of a Down. And I finally, this is 7 years after this, by the way, 7 years after, found out about Trigun, watched Trigun, loved it, loved Vash the Stampede so much. And then like 12 years after that, I finally found the AMV. Years later. Do you want to watch it? It's not even good. It's not even good. Hello, Neb. We're going to watch the Trigun AMV that I looked for years. By the way, the graphics are so low, so I'm not going to make it bigger than this. And I thought it was the coolest thing. Hi, Cat Lover. And I'll show you the part that I liked. It's coming up when she says, I got a gun the other day. That was the part that I wanted to see for years. Here it comes. Not yet. It's at the next part, actually. Vash is so hot. I believe it, Moxie. Do. Sugar. This part. I loved it so much. I wanted to see that for like 13 years. It took me 13 years to see that one part. It's not even that good. They do the stupid thing where they make all the voices match the mouths. This is AMV hell level shit. But I found it. And I'm happy I found it. Yes. No music? Oh no, it zoomed out. Why'd it go like that? Ah! There we go. Chat, it's breaking. No, it's breaking. Why did it break? Stop breaking. There we go. There we go. Okay. But yeah, chat, if I had been younger and I'd paid attention, I could have watched this music video all the way through, and I could have seen Anime Trigun, Band System of a Down, song Sugar. 7 years to find the song. Or was it the anime? And then another 7 or another 4 to find the AMV. God. Do you all remember AMV hell? Have all of you ever experienced AMV hell? Oh, go to sleep. Get some sleeps. Mwah. This used to be a thing that they did all the time. It was insane. And years later, I rewatched it. Like these fucking characters. it anyways, yeah, that was a thing. That was a thing. Yeah. It was there's only one song that I actually remember from there that I liked, which was 2-Ton Paperweight. That was by I didn't mean to pause it there. I was like, I want to go past this, but then I was like, I don't know what I'm doing. Why did I leave it up? Have y'all ever heard I found this band from AVL, Psycho Stick. Apparently the man streams. The main person of the streams. But they do a song like this. Beer is good, they do. They also do this. The song I like. Because the bass. The bass. Look at the bass. The bass. It's so bassy. It's so thick. It's a do 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 do. You can tell it's good because there's so much bass. And every song is better with more bass. It's true. Bass. Doom, 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 doom. I'm about to get a bass again. I'm about to get a bass again. I'm going to buy a new bass. We're going to play bass streams. Doom, 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 doom. It's just so bass. It's so much bass. It's so much. Chat, I'm hyper now. I'm hyper now. We're looking at bass stuff now. We're looking at bass stuff now. Victor Wooten, Norwegian Wood. This is the best bass player that I know of currently. Huh? Heh. This man. Look at this man. Look at this man. Look at this man. All right, Monk, you get some sleep. Just look at this. That man's fingers must be hard as rock. How do you do that? How do you make this have this sound? Like, it sounds like more than one instrument. It's so cool. It's so cool. And he's just doing this live. This ain't recorded. This man's just going out there being like, yeah, easy. I'm going to do a whole concert like this. I'm going to play multiple songs. This is at least a half an hour to an hour long set. And then, are you kidding? Are you kidding? Are you kidding? This. I wanted to learn how to do this. Easy. Simple. Fine. It's normal. Nope. How? How are there that many notes? How are you hitting that many notes at once? What are you doing? I love his pants. And he's just like, yeah, nah, that's easy. What do you mean you can't do this? Ah, God, insane. That's a bass guitar. But anyways. Ah. Sorry, I just went down memory lane and I kind of just wanted to show you all the things that I've listened to when I was, younger. Back when I was playing bass guitar in a band, and I was like, let me see all the bases that I can learn from. And I looked at basses like this and I'm like, I'm going to be bad forever. I'll never be this good. If you can growl, we can sing Viking sounds. I don't know how to growl, but I can throat sing. I'm not very good at growling. I mean, I can growl, I can grumble. But yeah. A lot of good memories from my younger years, a lot of bad memories. And I like to hold on to the good ones, You steal you one day. Mm-hmm. What is this? This sounds kind of fun. Interesting. All right, I want the Gorilla start. We're gonna listen to the Gorillas a little bit. Hi, Seven the Sifter. How you doing? Oh, let's listen to this. There we go. I used to listen to Gorillas all the time growing up. All the time. Did you all ever see the animated music videos from who's the band? Daft Punk. Did y'all ever see the animated music videos from Daft Punk back in the day? Like they even put it up on Toonami. It was so cool. Even a lurk. That was when my first experience with anime was seeing that. And I'd seen some other anime, don't get me wrong, but like that was my first full like animation length thing that I saw. And my God, that changed my life. Those characters were so amazing. Yeah, you have it. What have you been up to, Seven? I kind of want to watch it. No, we can't watch it. We'll watch it another time. This is just a just chatting stream chat. We got to be chatting, right? Bloop, bloop. What did I think? I liked it. You did very good, Desi. You did very well. Even with your rapping, you did very well. I'm proud of you. Crack the toes and clap the hands. Oh, wait. Blah, blah, blah. Gorillas. Rocket. Yes. I might play Fortnite chat just for the gorilla skins because I love the gorillas. I'd love to be 2D. One of my favorite gorilla songs right here. Okay. Calm. Hi, Vanya. Mwah. Do you want to play Fortnite with me? I just asked you. Give me a split second. I'm about to ask you, Vanya. Would you like to play Fortnite with me sometime? Then blah, 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 blah. Mine is not. I have to wait until the first to download it. And then blah, blah. Oh, thank you for the hydrate. 1, 2, blah, blah, blah. And in the end, it makes me blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. Murdoch. Wait, there's missions? There's missions to get the skins? Do I not have to pay money? Or do I have to pay money? I have to pay money, I'll pay money, but I'm not sure I want to pay money if the option exists not to pay money. That rocket, rocket. That sounds like fun. For Noodle and for 2D, I have to pay money? Ah, but I want 2D. 2D is so dumb. What do you mean you have V-Bucks? Fair enough. I'll take it. Did you know that the lead singer of Gorillaz is the same lead singer? Do you know Blur? Chad, do you know the Blur song? Do you know the band Blur? You heard what 2D sounds like, right? Now close your eyes for me, Chad. Close your eyes. We're going to listen to another song. Close your eyes. Now imagine 2D singing everything you're about to hear. Imagine the Gorillaz, that this is the Gorillaz. Just think about the Gorillaz. And do you hear it? Do you hear it, chat? It is. The lead singer of Blur is the Gorillaz. He is the majority of the Gorillaz. No. Gorillaz was a project for him to be able to try out some different kinds of music because Blur is like very like a certain kind of music. And so, yeah. Oh, DMs. What do we got in DMs? What do we have in DMs? Why am I afraid? No. All right. What is this? Oh, no, it's 3 pages long. Let's change the stream title. Let's put on the music. This will do. Okay. You ready? The weekend had gone by in a blur. After a brief exchange with the school gates that left Jene flustered and extra air in his steps as he strode back home, after kicking off his shoes and throwing his book bag haphazardly onto his desk, he crawled into bed as he kicked his feet behind him in the air gleefully. He really, he muttered to himself in wonder. Throat, 1 second, water. I gotta turn down music a little bit. He muttered to himself in wonder, a sparkle in his eyes as he held out his phone screen lit up in the dim bedroom on a new contact in his grimly empty list. Senpai, he's in love with me too. Jene spends the next day going back and forth texting his boyfriend. Shit, were they even officially dating? He didn't remember asking if they were both official before. Moron. Of course you forgot to do the main thing and everything. He thumped his head against the bathroom tiles, awkwardly covering his phone with his hunched over forearm to stop the shower from pattering onto the glass. Just type it out already, Jene. He snapped to himself in his mind, biting down on his bottom lip before slowly sticking his tongue out in pathetic focus. Carefully thumbing his keyboard. Do you want to go out with me tomorrow? Only if you don't have plans and you're not busy. And somehow, like his luck had fully paid off, he received a simple yes, followed by an address to a fancy coffee shop. Bingo. Jene stepped in front of the shop, phone in hand as he took a fifth glance on the map app, swallowing nervously as he began to feel his sweat soak into his crisp dress shirt under the summer sun, and then he realized something. Crap, they hadn't even agreed on a specific time, didn't they? He sighed, picking out his undyed black tuft in his bangs as he lowered his head in embarrassment. Of course, forgetting another simple thing he should have asked. Never change, moron. Before finally swinging the front door open and stepping in as a small bell chimed at the frame. He ordered a flat white. That's why you asked. He ordered a flat white. As usual, before sitting at the corner window seat in a plush chair, sipping slowly as he put his earphones to his ear. The human ones, he would yell at you. He could kill time as much as he wanted. It's not like he had any other plans for the rest of the day, and fuck, he felt cozy in his element. An hour passed, then two, until a tall shower covered him and the coffee table. I think he meant shadow, until a tall shadow covered him and the coffee table. His tail flicked, ear twitching towards the other person as he slowly looked up, prepping himself to see his beloved senpai staring down at him, only to be met with another man. Not as lean, definitely softer looking, as silky white hair cascaded the man's shoulders. Soft pastel clothing and cute little hairpins dotted his head as the stranger looked down at him with a gentle smile, innocently. Huh, he seemed familiar. Not in his class, no. 3A, top in his school, in food tech and home economics. Coffee, Keiki-san, popping with the girls, unlike him, and known as the cute one. Wait, what was he doing here? Lucky, his sweet voice finally sounded as he sat down in the chair in front of him, even without asking, giving a quick wink that made him immediately heat up at the cheeks. I knew you'd be here. You cute thing, you. Cute? He was cute, according to him of all people? What do you mean? I have no idea what you mean. Jene stuttered, picking out his earphones before stuffing his phone into his pocket awkwardly as his hands twitched underneath the table. You know I come by here regularly. Of course you would. Keiki-san cooed, teasingly before he sipped on his own frappe, his soft eyes staring into his intensely. But you also look so lonely, so I thought you could use some company. No. I suppose so. Then it's a good thing I heard you came by here. Keiki-san piped up joyfully, reaching down to grab an arm and cup one hand into his. Soft. Of course his hand felt soft and also so perfect. They both spent the next half an hour awkwardly exchanging, Keiki-san never wavering his gaze away from his. It felt like those eyes were getting more intimate by each moment that went by, now that Jene thought about it. Wait, was he also blushing? He was making the cute boy blush? You know, lucky senpai. Cake-san leaned in, eyelids lowered slightly as his own voice began to drop, slightly making his own heart jump. I never thought I'd get to be on a date with you, especially like this. But I'm so glad. Wait, Date? Keiki-san rubbed his shoe against his, leaning over the table as his face was now barely an inch to his. Mm-hmm. How else would you explain this, senpai? His fingers found his, bringing their shared palms to press against his own chest, as Jene felt the slightly rapid heartbeat at Keiki's chest. Senpai, you know I've always dreamed of this moment. That you... Jene felt his breath cascade over his ear and the side of his neck, sending a heated chill down his spine that caused the fur at his tail to frizz up. That you would become mine. Wait, Cake-san. Keiki leaned in, finally pressing his soft lips to Jene's dry ones, gently, as his other hand held his cheek to hold them in place. Jene held his breath, not believing what the hell was happening, only to feel their lips finally separate from each other. Only for Keiki-san to go back in slightly deeper. My cute lucky senpai. God, why did you make the coffee cake? Why? Why did you make the coffee cake a person? Okay. Sorry, I'm back. I got this. Okay. We can finish this. We're almost there. Cake-san breathed into his mouth as their tongues found each other. Jene just sat there, eyes wide in total disbelief as he failed to understand why his body was gladly accepting it so. Was it for the fact someone outright called him cute? That they dreamt of him of them sweetly? That a kiss could feel so heavenly, so rich and right? He finally breathed in and out, catching his breath as Cake-san finally pulled away to tilt his head almost lovingly. Cake-san, Lucky? Both of their hands whizzed to the side as Max-senpai stood to the side, Christopher and Jene standing still as his seedy eyes stared between the both of them. Expressions unreadable. Oh God, this wasn't fucking happening. Oh, wait, senpai. Jene stood up suddenly, kicking the table slightly at an angle with a jolt of his hip, as he looked back, mortified, at his supposed-to-be lover. I can explain. Oh, yes, he can. Keiki suddenly reached up to wrap his hands around his waist possessively, chuckling softly as he pressed his body to the side of Jene's, unashamed, while staking his claim. He's mine, Max-sensei. Always has been. What the fuck? What the fuck was that? Why? Why is there a love triangle between me, a Big Mac, and a cake? I'm afraid to eat anything else, chat, because if I eat anything else, I'm gonna have to date it too. How many food items can I get into a love triad with? When am I queso now dating my food? Explain it to me. Okay. You have another... Why? Why do you have another plan? I mean, at least I didn't step on the cake, okay? At least I didn't step on the cake. My feet stayed free of frosting this time. Oh my God. If I dated different G-subs... Vanya. I'm gonna hate saying this, but, I have to. Yeah, Vanya. If I get sponsored by G-subs, would you write a G-subs fanfic? Like a world of dating different flavors. Maybe giving the flavors characteristics of the people they represent, and I'll get the G-subs. I have to get sponsored by them first, but I'll pay you to write a sample one. Maybe I'll add it to the G Subs package when I try to apply for sponsorship just to get that affiliate code. But uh, it's content, Gene. Gene, it's content, and it would be funny. I have to do it. I don't think I have a choice. Anyways, okay, well, it has been requested we play trans. Oh my god. Fuck. I need a breather real quick, chat. Give me a second while I Okay, chat. Okay, chat. Well, I guess we'll date G subs flavors. It'll happen. It's gonna be. It'll be interesting. Can I move? Oh, sorry. Sorry. I'll move. I'll move. I don't care what you say, Dazzy. Sorry, I'm muted again. Did y'all have a good experience? Was it fun? Was it good? We have a channel to. Who are we rating into? Who do you want me to rate into? I mean, it's been fun. We did just chatting this time. It was super cool. So are you debuting? Who? And we'll definitely have to do it again. A Luix. Fine, we'll finish the song while we're doing the raid, okay? Let me check them out. All right, I need to check them out real quick. Oh my god, what is this model? Okay, yeah, fuck it. We'll raid into them. Bet. She is so cute. All right. We'll do a little. Hey, Vanya, can you make me a raid message? Make me a raid message for it. We'll go right into it. It'll be very cool. I'm trusting you, Vanya. Make me a good raid message. But yeah, chat, it's been a lot of fun. Y'all enjoyed the just chatting? That'll, fuck, I guess we're doing the impreg. I guess we're doing impreg. Okay, let me fix this. Boop, boop, boop. Control Z. We need the one there. We need the one there. We're going to do this. Boop, 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 boop. There we go. Oh, that's awful. That looks awful, chat. We need less words. We need less words. Okay. Oh, shit. Copy the raid message. I believe in you. Bye.